And so we come to the end of another year. A year that has had so many wins, but also so many lessons. I know for me that as I go into the end of this year to move into what's coming ahead, I had to make some changes in the way that I think and the way that I do what I do. Every year, I take you through a process to help you to be able to take forward with you what you learnt in 2025 into 2026 with some new thinking, some new ideas, and some new behavior so that you can get the results that you want at the end of next year. The process that we use is to reflect, refocus, and relaunch. Now, as we go into this process, there's a certain type of mindset that we need to take into it. A lot of times when people get to this part of the year, they think, what have I done this year? Have I actually advanced at all? Or am I still just on that hamster wheel doing the same thing and getting the same results? You know, we've all heard it said. The definition of insanity is to continue to do the same things, but expect a different result. And that starts with the frame of mind that you are in when you go through this process. I want to invite you to not just hear about my process, but as I go through it, for you to go and take and listen and put in your stories, your wins, the things that didn't work for you, and come out the end with your plan. Those of you who just listen to me and go, that sounds fantastic for him, this is not going to do anything for you. I really want to encourage you to set aside some bandwidth in your life right now to prepare for what's coming ahead. Now, when we do this, we want to make sure, firstly, that we're doing this as an inner process. If we look externally with what's going on in the world, you know, those roadblocks that are in place that could stop us from where we want to go, then that's a little bit disheartening. You know, here in Australia, we've just had a horrific scene in Bondi Beach where people have thought, well, this doesn't happen in our country. What's going on here? And although that is tragic, and we stop and we reflect and we listen to the people that are going through that and we give the support that we need to be able to go through the process I'm talking about without that burden and carrying that baggage as well. You know, if we just get stuck in the circumstances, we don't go anywhere. And it can become like quicksand. So get yourself ready, because you deserve everything that you want to achieve in 2026. And it's up to you to set that up. Not an employer, not a partner, no one else. It's up to you. Okay, so the first step, reflect. So what are we reflecting on? We're reflecting on where we came in our journey of 2025. However, we need to do it with what's called forward-focused reflection. Imagine you're driving along in a car and you have a large pane of glass in front of you called a windscreen or a windshield, depending where you're listening to this. And then you've got a small section of glass, which is called the rearview mirror. One is much bigger than the other, and that's on purpose. We need to make sure that even though we look at the rearview mirror, our focus is where we're going. If we spend the whole journey looking in the rearview mirror, we're not looking at where we're going, and we're going to crash. The other thing to realize is that rearview mirror is there whilst you're focusing on where you're going, to have a look up every now and then and go, okay, what's behind me? Where have I come from? Is there anything coming up behind me? And in the context of what we're talking about here, are there any past failures that we've branded or any relationships, any challenges that we're bringing with us on the journey into 2026. So just like a rearview mirror, as you go through this reflection process, you need to keep your eyes on where you're going. Keep your eyes on the prize, they say. Keep your eyes on the results that you want out of 2026. And then have a look at your current reality by looking in the mirror and going, okay, what went well in 2025? What did I do to achieve the wins that I had in 2025? Let's keep doing those in the context of what I'm doing moving forward. And secondly, what didn't work well? What didn't I get done? And why? Looking at that internally. What did I do to sabotage my results? What roadblocks did I put in my way? Not just looking externally. And then looking at those situations and go, what could I learn from that? And therefore, what would I do differently in that same situation moving forward? So reflect. And the whole purpose of reflection is not to find more evidence of what you're already ruminating on, that you're not good enough. No. It's lessons for you to take forward. It's taking stock. It's putting a line in the sand on certain things and saying, okay, now I know where I'm at. Once you've reflected, the second thing to do is to refocus. A lot of times when things don't go well, I've thrown out the baby with the bathwater, so to speak. I've gone, well, that doesn't work. I won't do that anymore. No. It's not an opportunity for you to just abandon your goals, your dreams, your aspirations. It's a matter to go, where am I going? Is that still important to me? Does that still fit my values and ethics? Does that still allow me to become who I need to become, to be who I want to be in every area of my life? Does that allow me to fulfill my destiny on the planet? Whatever it is for you, your calling. And then go, yeah, that's still important to me. Forgetting the fact that I haven't got there yet, putting on my big voice and going, yeah, hey, I still want that. The world still needs that. I'm still going to do that. And then looking at where you've gone off track. Are there certain situations or certain things that you're not doing now that you were doing before? Are there certain ways of thinking that are holding you back from getting those things? Are there relationships that you need to mend or you need to separate from to be able to refocus with a realigned intention on what it is that you're doing in 2026? The third thing to do is, as we go into the new year, and by the way, you don't have to wait until the 1st of January. It's just the ticking over of a clock. You can start this now. However, most of us like to look at the 1st of January as the start of a new year. It's the start of a new opportunity, even though that happens every single day. But relaunch with a new plan, one that is tweaked, adjusted. It's let go of some baggage that you're not carrying anymore. It's got a fresh set of ideas and mindsets that are actually going to help you to get where you want to go. You've plugged in to the learning that you need to do, the people that you need to get around you, the relationships that you will need to help you to get to where you're going. Those are the resources you've added that are going to overcome those roadblocks, and you're ready to go. And it's a matter of hitting the ground running. Once you are rested, whatever time of the calendar is set for you to go back to your work or whatever it is that you're doing, to start on day one. A lot of people in Australia and many countries that I work in around the world don't really get started until February, right? If you are in places like Singapore, where I do a lot of work, well, this year we've got Chinese New Year in February, so we'll worry about it after Chinese New Year, whatever it is. And you end up half the quarter has already gone and you've missed those opportunities. So get started. Now, that could be using the downtime that you have to work on you. And that's what I'm going to be doing. In the work that I do, my clients are not really wanting to do work with me until after Australia Day here in Australia and going into February. So I use January to learn, to shift, to change, to get my mind right, to get my body back where it needs to be. And a part of that process for me is changing the way that I do things moving forward. So we've reflected on where we've come in a positive, forward-focused way. We've refocused and made sure that things align with where it is that we are called to be going. And now we've relaunched. And that's a process that I want you to utilize and to take forward into 2026. 2026 can be your best year ever. The choice is up to you. So for me, you're watching this on Grant Herbert, the People Builder. This is my YouTube channel, which you're probably hearing it in a podcast or could be. And it's how I've been doing things for the last 6 years. Things have changed and therefore I need to shift and adjust. So whilst I'm going to continue to do this, you've probably noticed I went from doing it every week to doing it every month. And I'm going to continue that moving forward. And my focus is going to be more to the other areas that I do things, particularly in my 2 training companies, People Builders and the Professional Services Leadership Academy. So whilst I love to serve and have a message that goes out to everyone, I have limited capacity and bandwidth. So I'm going to make sure that my focus are on those things. I've got a couple of new channels that are starting up, and for those particular markets, that will be announced so that you can tap into stuff in context. One of the great things that I did this year was finally wrote a book, Professional Services Leadership, because that's where I do most of my work. And I'm going to be making sure that a lot more of my energy goes into that. That's my text message reminding me that I didn't listen to it the first time it went off, but that's okay. I'm not even going to edit that out because this isn't about being perfect. But I want to wish you all the best 2026 that you could possibly imagine. May everything that you do for you and for yours prosper. May you have happiness, peace, and joy in abundance. I love the opportunity to work with you. I love the fact that wherever I go around the world, people say, hey, thank you for your videos, for your podcasts, for your posts, for your messages. For me, it's not about vanity metrics and likes and all those things. I actually love to hear your stories. That's why I love people to join the conversation, and you can do that. And I welcome the opportunity to be a part of your life in 2026. I'll see you then.